Lads, welcome to the first match preview of the season. I'm here with Hal today. We're going to be talking about the Blades game against Wolves on Monday night. First of all, we're going to be talking about the expectations from both sides. So, in my opinion, Wolves will probably be going for European football. I think between, obviously, first and seventh or eighth is probably their aim, but obviously top six would be best for them. Us, on the other hand, I think we're going to be looking for kind of mid-table. It's going to be difficult to replicate that amazing season that we had last season. But you never know. You never know what could happen. You never know with this Blades team. I think first and foremost, Chris Wilder will probably say, let's stay in the division. Whatever we do, let's stay in the division and keep building. What do you reckon, Hal?
I mean, it would be handy if we had the kind of arrangement that Wolverhampton Wanderers have with a Portuguese agent to be able to bring in the kind of big names for interesting transfer fees, let's say. We have on paper, again, the kind of squad that those in the media and pundits would say should still be flirting with relegation. We saw last season that our guys can over-exceed and play to their potential pretty much every game. There were some games where we did let ourselves down. I'm thinking Newcastle away is one of the most obvious examples. I'm a bit more optimistic, though. I'm thinking we're actually going to do better than last season, and I'm reckoning flirting similar with Europe like we did last season, particularly before the coronavirus break, when we came back not quite firing on all cylinders. So I reckon seventh.
Wow, brilliant. I'll take that. Can we just end the season now and take seventh? That would be excellent.
Yeah, you could clip that as well and make me look like a real fool at the end of the season.
I'm going to go with 12th place, I reckon. I think it'll be a nice, steady season. I don't think we'll have as many ups and downs as last season. I think, to be honest, right at the start of last season, we were just expecting to try and stay in the division. We didn't expect to be beating kind of top six sides. So yeah. Anyway, that's excellent. I'm hoping I'm going to keep you to that 7th place, and I'm hoping that you're right. So last time out, Sheffield United hosted Wolves at Bramall Lane. It was quite a decent end to the game. Do you want to go through it, Hal?
I loved this game. It was, I think, for most Blades, the one where we all leapt off the sofa, the largest leap, if you will, the most memorable cheer. It was so incredible that it all culminated in that final Ollie Norwood corner in the last minute. We'd been hearing Andy Hinchcliffe bang on Sky about how dangerous Wolves were late in the game. And yet it was the mighty Red and White Wizards who had the final sting in the tail with a John Egan header, a bullet header into the goalkeeper's net, Rui Patricio, and just a well-deserved win. But at that point, we hadn't been that good since the restart, and we had looked like we were struggling to find ways of scoring goals. Sometimes it is the Blades way. We always look like we're trying to score the perfect goal, and you think, just knock it in, don't play it short, have a go. You know, you say all those words over and over again, and we actually did. And maybe because the clock was ticking down, we thought, just get it into the mixer. And John Egan scoring a goal, and then went on a little, I think, spell, might be probably putting too fine a point on it. But yeah, he was wonderful in that sort of 4 or 5 games after the restart, particularly after that shocker against Newcastle, which I already mentioned, where John Egan really let himself down. Towards the rest of the season, after that, he was just fantastic. And this game was, for me, man of the match performance.
So next up, we've got Blades team news and the lineup that we're going to go with. So obviously, it's going to be Aaron Ramsdale or Rammers, shall we say? You're never going to get away from that. It's always going to be Rammers, isn't it?
Rammers.
I can't even remember anyone saying Rambo recently, so it's definitely Rammers. Rammers for life. Then we're going to obviously be going with, I think, the same back three as we did for most of last season. I hope, anyway, because Jack O'Connell's barely played any football. Obviously, if it's not going to be Jack O'Connell, it will be Jack Robinson. I thought Jack Robinson had a great pre-season. Jack Robinson, then Egan, Basham. It's got to be Baldock and Ender Stevens for me, even though we've brought in the 2 new lads from Derby, Max Lowe and Jayden Bogle. I do think we're going to go with Stevens and Baldock as we did for every game last season, I believe. Then in the midfield, it's going to be Ollie Norwood at defensive midfield. I think Chris Wilder expected to start the season with Sander Berger, but it looks like he's come back with a knock after international duty. So I doubt he's going to start. It obviously depends on how severe the injury is. And then Fleck on the left-hand side, he had a poor game apparently from the Scottish fans' perspective in his international start. But hopefully he'll be coming back as a Blade and firing in all cylinders as he was doing last season. Then up front, I would like to see McGoldrick and McBurney up top together, but as McGoldrick's played barely any football, I don't think he's played 1 minute actually. It's looking like it's probably going to be Billy Sharp. I think it was between Billy Sharp and Callum Robinson before obviously Robinson left because them two were played a couple of games together. So it's looking like it's going to be Sharp and McBurney. But it could be Ollie Burke could be coming off the bench, or he could even start Ollie Burke. You know what Chris Wilder is like. He likes to throw a curveball in every now and then. But that's the side I'm expecting to start. And then I'm going to leave it up to Hal to talk us through the Wolves side and kind of like who's expecting to start.
Well, we do know that Johnny Otto is definitely out. Seems like it's a long-term situation that Wolves are going to be dealing with there with Otto. So that's going to be quite interesting. We're working. The squad is not complete, a quote I've just read from Nuno Espirito Santo. So the way they're looking at lining up, there's actually a couple of permutations that they could go with. Wolves, some say, are a bit like a carbon copy of of the Blades, but actually the only similarity seems to be that they like playing three at the back. They've often operated very different after that. So it could be that they play three at the back with Roman Saiss, who was formerly a midfielder, converted to a defender. Connor Cody, formerly a midfielder, converted to a defender, who we know all too well as Blades, but played all of his time as a loanee at United in midfield. He's become a very, very good Jagielka-esque defender. Jagielka in his prime, obviously. And then Willy Bolly on the right-hand side of those defenders. That's probably the only kind of cemented area of the team, bit like ours. The back three kind of picks itself. We know that Rui Patricio, the number, does he wear a number 11?
Something
I think he does.
Really random, some outfield number, yeah.
Some outfield number, he'll be in goal, obviously. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Who do they play in those kind of wing-back positions? And a lot of the Wolves fans that I've spoken to and looking at some of their comments online and some of the forums, I would say Adama Traore is most likely going to play on the right side. So that kind of right midfield, right wing back position. That's interesting. Is he going to track back and do some defending? If he is, that could be fun. On the other side, Vinagre is expected to play left wing back. Then across the middle, you've got the likes of Ruben Neves, incredible. Then you've got Moutinho and possibly Dendoncker as well playing in there. Raul Jimenez and Jota likely to play up front. But they could, Nick, this is where it also gets quite exciting from a Wolves perspective of how attack-minded they go. They could go with three up top, Jimenez, Jota and Podence. So that would mean Moutinho and Neves playing as the two in the middle, and then probably Traore and Vinagre again still in those positions there. But I'm quite confident on that. They have a new signing, Marcal, who could play at centre-back. That's potentially instead of Saiss. They've got a new striker, Fabio Silva from Porto, who's very exciting. Anyone who plays Football Manager 20 will know how good he becomes. And Vitinha, who is a midfielder on loan from Porto. I think it's unlikely that he will start. He had played a handful of games for Porto. But that is pretty much the Wolves team news and how they might line up. Two options there against the Blades.
So next up, we're going to do a score prediction. And Hal said off camera just before this, I didn't do any score predictions all last season. So we're getting his very first one for how long?
I don't like doing them. I've become a superstition, Nick, and you've forced me. We did so well last season, so I don't really want to do one, but you've really pushed me. The last time I did a score prediction would have been the Stoke game, where we were all drunk. So, yeah, I mean, I predicted us to win that game as well.
Was that the last game of last season? The season
last game of the whatever season, yeah.
Right, okay, so I'm going to go first, and I'm going to sit firmly on the fence, get splinters in my backside, and go for a 0-0. A really exciting first game to the season.
I don't like that prediction at all. I think the Blades are going to nick it 1-0 very late on.
John Egan header.
John Egan. I mean, I don't know who's obviously, but I do think we're going to nick it 1-0, and it will be a very cagey game. A bit like you, I agree. It's not going to be one for the neutral. So well done, Sky Sports.
So next up, we've got memorable matches, and we've had a few interesting ones in the past. What is your memorable match for Wolves, Hal?
Right, so don't have a go at me, first of all, because I am 37, and my first ever game was in 1997. I came from a household where football wasn't a big deal, so it was something that I sort of had to beg for. But eventually got taken to Bramall Lane in 1997, and the first ever game was also on Sky against Wolverhampton Wanderers. There'll be Blades watching this right now instantly remember the Steve Bull 3-2 defeat that we suffered. David White scoring his 100th goal of his career in that game. He got his 99th and his 100. He got both of our goals in that match. And Wolves cruelly beating us at the death with a very, very late Steve Bull winner right in front of their away fans at the Bramall Lane end. And I just remember it being a night game, so that's always more exciting. How it was so crucial. Both of us were pushing for promotion at that time. We were under Howard Kendall. They were under Mark McGee. Don Goodman up front as well, causing problems. We had players that I was adoring for many, many years, like Mitch Ward and Dane Whitehouse, proper legends. That's the most memorable game when you talk to me about Wolves.
Well, for me, it's probably a negative because we did lose quite a while back now. I was going to say not too long ago, but it definitely was. 3-0 in the playoff final. I'm sorry to bring it up, and I probably brought it up at the back end of last season in that preview as well. So I'm not going to talk too much about it because by half-time, pretty much the game was over. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in that game. But we're going to ignore that one, and we're going to say last season, because that was an excellent finish to the game. Hal's already spoken about it already. John Egan, last minute. I think we'll remember that one for a very, very long time. So, yeah, they are our memorable moments. And finally, the last section in this video, we're going to be talking about player connections. It's always my favourite part of the video because I've got a really, really weird brain. I forget about all the players that we've had in the last few seasons, and I remember the ones from donkeys years ago. So, shall we go one each, Hal?
Yeah, I don't think that's weird either. I think that's very, very common.
Yeah, do you think it's because I'm getting on a little bit? And
yeah, I think I'm exactly the same. I think also when you're a kid and everything, it matters so much to you. You remember everything.
I think you're probably right there. So, first of all, I think I'll probably remember some as I'm talking about these players. So, actually, you go first because I think you've got a couple more than I have.
Dean Sturridge, how can we forget? So Dean Sturridge used to play for Wolves as a striker. He joined us on loan, and the reason I'm mentioning him first is I met him at Birmingham New Street train station and was talking to him about the Blades. I was kind of like saying how amazing we are, wonderful club. We'd love to welcome him to Bramall Lane. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, we signed him on loan.
If I remember rightly, I remember him being amazing at Derby. I don't remember him playing too much for the Blades, so...
No, I didn't.
No. He either, he didn't play or he was rubbish.
I think he played like one game. I'd have to look that up, but he certainly wasn't any good.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds a bit like an Ian Rush type of signing. Next up, I've got Leon Clark. Obviously, amazing for us in the last few seasons. I think he had 2 spells with Wolves, if I'm right. I shouldn't have said that because if it's wrong now, people are going to...
No, it's right.
Oh, right, okay, good. So, yeah, excellent for us. Really, really good. Gutted to see him leave. But it is what it is. You've got to move on with the times.
What about Kevin McDonald?
Very good. Very, very good. Because I've got a Wolves fan who is a very good mate of mine, and he gave me such hammer when we gave them our best player.
We've already mentioned Connor Cody, so I don't know if I'm going to steal that one as one of my picks. Instead, I'll say, I think you pronounce it Bath, but Danny Bath.
Oh, I thought it was Danny Bart.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Danny Bart. I can never remember how you say it. Yeah, we had him very, very briefly. He also, I believe, played for Sheffield Wednesday, and now he's at Stoke.
Yeah. So there we go. We've got Connor Cody and Danny Bart. And then finally, my last one is a really random one. We were talking about this off camera, and I got the guy wrong, and I thought, but I think it's because they were at similar times in the same position. I've got Jody Craddock.
Oh, yeah, great shout. I really, really liked him when he played for the Blades. Yeah, formerly of Sunderland, apparently an incredible artist.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, he played 10
Because I
games for the
thought
Blades.
you were on about Keith Curl when you sort of talk about centre-backs. And I also thought you'd be talking about Richard Stearman.
Of course. Again. Remember the old ones, forget the recent ones.
Can I throw one more in? And I think the reason this has just come back to me is actually it might be the reason that Rui Patricio doesn't wear number 1. I think
I know what you're going to say. Sorry. Go on.
It's actually come back to me. It's housed somewhere in my memory warehouse that we had on loan Carla Kamey. And I believe that the number 1 for Wolves has been retired in honour of him. He's no longer playing after suffering with leukemia.
Yeah, I do remember that actually as well. I remember him coming to us on loan and being quite excited, but he did only play 2 games for us, which is, a little bit sad. Just looking back on that, it looks like he played for Wolves for 15 years, but actually went on 9 loan spells whilst at the club. So yeah, obviously, us being one of them clubs.
So there we are. That's our predictions and our preview for Sheffield United welcoming Wolverhampton Wanderers on Monday night. It's been 7 weeks since we last played Southampton. I think we will finish in 7th place. And I've already said we'll win 1-0. Will our number 7, John Lundstrom, be the goal scorer? Let's find out.
So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, smash a like on it. If you're new around here, please subscribe. What do we say, Hal?
Lads. And
you can't do it, can you? That's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.
Yes, I like that. Let's go with that.
Look at that ping from Norwood. Makes other teams look no good. We've got a team full of leaders. Alan Hill, Chris Wilder taught us. Yeah, there was us on the tour bus. Look how many goals Billy scored us. It's beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. We are the boys from Shore.